Hello, my crafty friends, and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise Cox. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Trail, British Columbia, Canada, and today I am here to share with you this really awesome fun card made with the Gone Fishing stamp set, which is my June 2023 Stamp of the Month. So if you're interested in learning about the Stamp of the Month Club, head on over to createwithbirdsnest.ca and you'll find all of the information under my clubs and classes tab. So this one is currently, the registration is closed, but you can take a look at one of the cards that is included in that month's kit, and the new one for July will be posted real soon. So if you are a member of the club, then you've already got your little packet already made up ready for you, and I'm going to go through that and how to assemble this really fun card. So if you're watching here and you aren't already subscribed to my channel, give me a thumbs up, send me those hearts. They're like kind of like getting oohs and ahs in a real live in-person event, and I really do appreciate it. So subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. Okay, so let's see this card up close right here. So this is one of 3 cards in the kit. Every month I do go through one that kind of highlights the stamp set, and then of course if there's coordinating dies, which there is in this case, these are the Gone Fishing dies right here. This video is just going to kind of give you an overview of how to put the stamps together, like how the dies go with the stamp and that kind of thing. So as you can see, we're using lots of the imagery, lots of the dies, and this is going to be a really fun card to create. So let's get started. Our colors today, if we look inside our kit here, little pieces in here as well. So our colors are gray granite, night of navy, and white. Okay, so a really basic card, but we're going to add in a lot of colors in our stamped images. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for the time being. What I'm going to do is show you what has happened here. So I have cut out ahead of time these 2 dies. This is what's going to create our tackle box. So if you look at the die set right here, you've got the 2 images. So this is the background, which would also, for any of my scrapbooking friends out there, this would make a really awesome mat for some scrapbook pages, for some photos, with a nice rounded corners. And then this piece here, of course, is the compartments for the tackle box that I've cut out. Now, when you cut this out, you also get all of these fun little shapes left that are the negative images. So this one here is from this longer one up there. We are going to use this one. So in the kits for my club members, you will have that piece in there. Okay, now if you're making this card along, make sure that you save the one that's the longer piece right here. Okay, let's set those aside. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some heat embossing first. So I'm going to get that out of the way, get the sentiments stamped, and then we can go on creating the rest of our card. So I'm going to bring in my embossing toolkit here with my Versamark ink pad and some white embossing powder. We're going to use the stamp set, or the sentiment, Happy Retirement. You could also use, I believe, Happy Father's Day. Ooh, it would be tight on there. So glad you're my dad would work on there, as well as congrats. But I'm going to use Happy Retirement. I think that is a really great one to use. Okay. So with my embossing toolkit, I'm going to take the embossing buddy and I'm just going to, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm just going to rub that over the front of my cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp with the Versamark ink, okay? So the Versamark ink does not come in the embossing kit. You can buy it separately. You can also buy the refill of just the ink if you already have a pad that needs re-inking. So I'm going to stamp the Happy Retirement, and this is of course just going to be clear. And then I'm going to bring in my tray, my tweezers, my brush, and I'm going to hold this in my tweezers and then dump some of my embossing powder over top. Okay, and then we can just shake that off. I always like to give it a bit of a flick on the back, and that way it takes off any excess that maybe is getting stubborn and stuck. And then I'm going to set that aside. Okay, and I'm going to take my heat tool. Now, forgive me for the bit of noise. It might be a little loud. You may want to pause it right now while I'm doing this. So I'm just going to use it. We have 2 settings. I'm going to put it on heat setting 2. Let it warm up, and then I'm going to hold this. The tweezers are great because now I'm not going to burn my fingers when I'm heating this up to melt my embossing powder. I should have let this warm up a bit first. So here we go. So if you can see, the magic of the embossing is that melts together and creates a nice bright white glossy sentiment. All right, let's turn that noisy thing off. And there we have it. Isn't that cute? All right, so now we can just set that aside. Sentiment is done. For those of you who aren't familiar with our embossing toolkit, let me just show you. So this has, normally it has a plug in the bottom, but I'm not sure where my plug is. However, you just can dump this in here like that and use, of course, the brush to get all those little bits extra back into our embossing bottle. And that way you're not wasting any. And it's super handy tool. I was so happy when they brought this back. So there we have it. That's the embossing toolkit. This is part of the basics embossing powder. All right, let's bring in some more of our pieces here. Okay, so here is the the tackle box, not the toolbox. And then we've got a basic gray card base. We've got a piece of white for the inside. Now in the kit, if you're a member, you are going to have another sheet of white that's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that is where you're going to do all of your stamping bits, okay? Stamping and die cutting. Now what I've done for the sake of the video is I've pre-cut, and hope this is going to work, I've pre-cut all of the images we're going to need for the lures, okay? So you can do the same. You can pre-cut them all with your dies, or you can just stamp them and then cut them out. I'm going to try doing it this way. It is a photopolymer stamp, so they're usually very easy to line up. So let's give it a whirl, and hopefully it's going to work. So I'm going to start, that's the first one I grabbed, with one of these lures. Now this is a 2-step stamping stamp set. So each one has 2 steps to stamping it to complete. You'll notice I've got my images sitting on top of my card base. That is because it's easier to see the white when it's not on the white grid paper. It's easier to line up when there's a darker color behind. So I'm just going to line that up and stamp it down and hope it's working. Perfect. Okay, so there are two of that one. Okay, so there we go. We got 2 of those stamped out. And then we'll grab I'm just going to do all of the outlines first, and then we'll come back and do the second stage stamping. So here is another fishing lure. I wish I knew what the names of these are. If I have any fishing enthusiasts watching, let me know in the comments what these are actually called, because to me they're all just lures. But we're going to go ahead and stamp that one, and then there should be 2. There's the other one right there. Okay, and I'm just stamping these with the Memento ink. You could use Stays On too if that's what you have. You just want a nice black image. So I'm going to give these a quick clean, these stamps, before I switch them out. Now remember, if you're watching along here on YouTube and you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I love to hear from you. And now we're going to switch it out. Oh my goodness, so many stamps. I'm going to switch it out for the float or the bobber. And then I'm going to stamp that on here. Okay. Now, every time I stamp this image, you guys, every time, friends, I think that looks like a Christmas ornament. I think I could do a Christmas ornament with that, right? Okay, so there's our float or our bobber. Give this a clean. And then just got the one left. We've got the fly. So let me grab that image here. Now this one does not have a second step stamping. So we're just going to stamp this one once and done. One and done for this guy. Voila. Okay, so we actually don't need 2. Actually, you know what? It might be kind of cute on the inside of the card. So let's go ahead and stamp it. If it works out, we'll use it on the inside. Perfect. Okay, so there is the black. I can go ahead and close this up because we're done with that one now. And now we're going to do, so like I said, those ones don't need second stamps. These 6 do. So we'll start with the float. We're going to make that one traditional, and we're going to make it red. So the ink pads we're going to use for our lures and bobbers and all the things are real red, crushed curry, and granny apple green. So as I said, we'll start with the red. We're going to ink this up and we're going to line that up, and it should line up quite easily. Like I said, photopolymer. Voila. All right, next one we'll do like that. Okay, so there's our bobbers done. Let's get them out of the way. Then let's take these stamps off of here and we'll switch it to the green. So here's granny apple green. And we're going to use this fun one here. So this is the second step stamping. Let me just show you there. So as I mentioned, this is the bobber, and that's the fill for that. This is the lure we're doing currently, and this is the one that goes in there. Of course, we've done this one already, which goes with this one. Oh, there is a fly one. So there is something you could color in there. However, I did not do that on my card, so we're not going to do that today. And then the fish also has a double stamping. So lots of options with this fun stamp set. I think it's one of my favorites from the catalog. And the paper, you guys, seriously, if you haven't checked out that paper, oh, so nice. And for the month of June, Designer Series paper is on sale, 15% off. So you can get, here in Canada, the Designer Series paper Gone Fishing, or Let's Go Fishing, is usually $17. Right now it's on sale for $14.45. So it's a good time to stock up on all of your favorites. There we go, got those two done. And then we'll switch on over to crushed curry. And we'll just switch this stamp set out. I've got a pile over here. You guys can't see it, but a pile of stamps I'll clean when we're done this video. All right, so let's go ahead and grab this one here. Ink that up with the crushed curry. Now for this guy, the trick is to line up the eye. So there's a hole in this stamp I'm using currently where the eye goes. And if you line that up, ta-da, looks wonderful. Okay, so here we go. This one too. All right, there is all of our stamping for now done. So I'm gonna set these all aside. Set the card base off to the side for a moment. And now we're going to look at this tackle box. So here is the Night of Navy base piece. There is the overlay for the tackle box. So what I'm going to do is lay it on top, because do you see this little image here? I want to stamp that in there as well, just to give it a little bit of stamped image in there. So again, we'll take that one off, add it to my cleaning collection over there. I'm going to use a Night of Navy ink, and I'm just going to, holding this in place, like I said, just having it there, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. There's no rhyme or reason. I just want a little bit of a, kind of like a texture. It's creating a bit of texture in the background of this tackle box. Okay, maybe we want to do this one up and down as well. And then perhaps this one we'll switch it. Maybe we'll do two in this one. Let's do two. Okay, so just have fun with this. Do some stamping, add some texture in there. So that is done. Now we can go ahead and assemble. So I'm going to take all of these stamped images off. I'm going to take the top off there and bring in that gray granite card base. Okay. Take my score tool, my bone folder here. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this on the front of our card. However, I want to make sure it's opening the right way. Our sentiment is going to go down here on the one that has no stamping. So I want that on the bottom left. Okay, and we'll go ahead and assemble that right on the top. Okay, now for this guy. This one's a little tricky only because I want to put it on dimensionals. You guys know me, I love the dimensionals. I love lots of layers and lots of pop on my cards. So we're going to use the minis, but we're probably going to have to actually cut them up as well. So if we flip it on over, put it here where you can see better, I'm going to pull off these little guys and stick them on here. And I think they're going to fit just right. Oh, they do. So on each of these tabs at the top, which are like the hinges of the tackle box, we can put one. And then we can put one full one down here on the little part that you would grab to open up the tackle box. And then I think we could probably fit, oh, I've got 2 here. I could probably fit 1 there and 1 there. One of my pet peeves when I'm card making is if my dimensionals show through to the front. Oh, it makes me crazy. So I'm very careful where I place them so that I hope not to have that happen. So there we go. We're going to stamp that one in there, and then we probably can fit one over here. There we go. Okay, so let me just flip that over, make sure we can't see any of them. Awesome, we cannot. So now we can go ahead and pull those backings off. And okay, pulled our card base back in. The hinges are going to go up at the top. Remember, this is where we're going to put, oh no, look you guys, I can see the dimensionals. So there is a trick, so I can see them a little bit here. So if that happens, and if you're like me and that drives you crazy, you can just take your paper snips and just kind of on an angle, just kind of snip off some of that dimensional. Okay. There's another trick too. We may have to do that. So if that happens to you and you're like me and it drives you nuts, then you're going to want to take a Stampin' Right marker and just touch it up. That's my little trick. Okay. That one's actually not so bad. It's that I can live with that. So that's okay. All right. So now let's take our sentiment. This is the happy retirement that we created earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. And then we're just going to pop that guy right in here. It's very unfortunate that I bent that cardstock piece, but that's okay. We'll do that. So there we go. That's our sentiment there in the corner. Okay. Just pop that out. And now we're going to have some fun, and we're going to fill our tackle box with all these fun images that we already stamped. I've got my mini dimensionals. I've also got some larger ones. So let's go ahead and start up here in the corner. Now this is where I'm going to put my floats or my bobbers. And I'm going to put just regular adhesive on one, like that. And I'm going to stick that up there. And then we'll take the second one here, put a single dimensional on the back. And we're going to stagger that and layer it up on top. So those two are sitting in that little compartment of my tackle box. Next, I want to have my lures. So we're going to go with these little fishy ones. Oh, and you know what I did? So in my original card, you guys, so I did 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 yellow, 1 green. I didn't do that this time. So now instead of having a nice organized tackle box, we're going to end up with one that's a little bit messy. Which in all honesty, guys, if I had a tackle box, that's most likely what it would be. It would be a little bit of a mess. And it's all good. It's all good. It'd be a little bit like my craft room, right? So now I'm putting a dimensional on the back of the other lure. Right here, and I'm going to stagger that because I think that that looks better than having 2 yellow in there. So we're going to just do this. Okay, there we go. And now for down here, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to stagger it differently. So for this one, I'm going to put the glue on the small green lure. Okay, I'm going to put that, I don't want them side by side, so I'm going to stick this, stick this down here. Okay, that one's laying there. Then we'll go ahead and put dimensionals. Looks like this guy's probably going to be best with a couple of minis, like that. I should have my take a pick tool out to get these backings off, but I don't know where I've put it. Okay, so then we can have this tackle one just sort of sitting over top like that. Cute. See, there's no wrong when it comes to stamping. You just switch it up, right? So we could have restamped those, but we can just improvise and make it happen. So here we go. Now we're going to put our fly in there. But before I do that, I wanted to use some linen thread. Okay, you guys, I love linen thread. And we're going to kind of mess that up behind the fly, kind of as though it was messy fishing line. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of twist it up, position it on there. And then I'm going to take a dimensional. And I'm just going to sort of put the dimensional on in one spot. It does not have to be more than that, just one spot. And then I'm going to take that off. That's holding the linen thread in place. Okay, that's going to cover the top of the fly. So then on the back, I'm just going to flip it over and put one more little mini guy down here on the back of the fly. And we'll go ahead and stick that on there. So now we have some messy fishing line. We've got our fly in there. Okay. We're going to set that one aside for the inside. Now, we're almost done the front. In the die set, there's so many neat little pieces to this. So right here, this die here, it's all connected. So you can get these 3 weights that are going to cut out. So I've gone ahead and done that. And in your kit, if you're a member of my club, my Stamp of the Month club, you're going to have all 3 of these little guys all cut out. So check that envelope and be careful because they are in there. But you'll have those. So those are cut out of gray granite. They would be really, really cute also if you cut them out of silver foil paper. That would be really fun. Okay, so because I don't know where my Take a Pic tool has gone, I'm going to maybe attempt to use my tweezers. So what I want to do is I'm going to flip one over, and if you can see, I'm going to lift that up really close. If you can see, it's like it cuts and embosses, so that's fun. We're going to take that, and we're going to take another little mini, and we're going to pop one on the back of this weight. Oh, I don't even maybe need the tweezers. And we're just going to put that in there. So there's one right in there. We're just going to kind of use these as fillers somewhere in our tackle box here. So I'm going to put another dimensional on one of them. Yeah, I think you know what? I'm going to do all 3. I'm going to put all 3 with dimensionals. Okay, perfect. So I think we'll put one here. Oh, and I stuck it to the card. And then the other one could probably just even go right beside that. Kind of like that. Isn't that cute? I love it. So sweet. And we've got a little bit of embossing powder there, but that's okay. So we could then, we could have used one of those to cover that up. Could get a little bling, a little sticky embellishment that we could put there. But for now, I'm happy with that. I think it's super cute. So let's move to the inside. And I've just got a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white. And then we said happy retirement on the front. So I think good things come to those who wait is a super fitting inside sentiment. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to take this texture-y stamp off and add it to my cleaning collection over here. I'm going to wipe this off with my microfiber. All right. So stick that on there. And then I think I want to use Night of Navy again. Tie it all in with the front. Oops. Okay. And we're just going to stamp. Oh, goodness. Strange that it's doing that. But I think I just pushed too much ink down there. Good things come to those who wait. And then remember, we did cut one more of these little flies. So we can go ahead and stick that to the inside as well. And I think the best way to stick that would be to use this Tombow multi-purpose glue. And just stick that on there. Now you could have also just stamped it, but because we'd already die cut it ahead of time, I thought it would just be really cute to stick that in there. All right, let's go ahead and stick that inside into our card. Okay, there we have it, all complete. Now another thought we could do, and this is just kind of on a whim, this wasn't planned, but we could take a Wink of Stella pen and we could add a bit of shimmer. Because we don't really have anything else sparkly on here, right? We don't have any bling. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella glitter to the parts of these lures here. And maybe a little bit. Floats don't typically shine, but you know what? It can. In this case, we can make it shine. Okay. And we'll put a little bit on our weights as well. There we go. Now it's complete. We got some sparkle, some bling, got all the bits, lots of layers, super colorful. I love how this card turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, this is one of the cards for my Stamp of the Month Club for June, featuring the Gone Fishing. If you're interested in joining the club and seeing what it's all about, head on over to createwithbirdsnest.ca and click on my classes and clubs tab, and you'll find all the information about my Stamp of the Month Club. The July one will be posted soon. June has already closed. The registration is always open up until the first Saturday of that month, and then it closes. I get the kits ordered, prepped, and ready to go, and then off to you for you to complete the projects in the comfort of your home with your brand new stamp set. Now, if you're watching and you're like, man, what if I really want to do the class, but I already have the stamp? That is not a problem. You can substitute the stamp for one in the catalog of equal value. So the class is open to anybody in Canada. You can do the club and save a bit of money if you subscribe to a 6 months running membership. And if you don't want to do that, but you just want to do a one-off, then there is an option for that too. So head on over createwithbirdsnest.ca and check it all out. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Just send me an email or hit the contact me button there on my blog. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful stampy day. Cheers.